What is good, everyone? It's your boy Chris. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm launching my new series, Tutorial Tuesdays, where I'll be going over music making tips and tricks in 10 minutes or less. Now, of course, these are all based on what I've learned and personally used in the last 10 years of producing music, but are not the end-all be-all rules and techniques because, as we all know, creativity is all about breaking the rules. That being said, the goal here is to be as efficient and informative as possible so that you can get started making music ASAP in any DAW or digital audio workstation. Everything I talk about in this video are methods I personally have used in every song on my lo-fi album called Club West, which released a little over a year and a half ago. And you can stream it on Spotify, Apple Music, etc. Or you can check it out right here. So with that being said, we got the timer going on and let's get into it. All right, so first things first, let's talk about chords. All right, so when it comes to lo-fi, most chord progressions include what's called seventh chords and suspended chords. So particularly seventh chords and sus2 or sus4 chords. And since there are way better resources than me, and this video is not necessarily about music theory, I've linked some resources below if you want to learn more about how those chords work. But essentially, these chords give lo-fi that kind of jazzy, chill vibe sound that we all know and love. So here's a comparison of a chord progression from my song Saturday at the Park. Here's what it sounds like when you play it with normal triads, normal C chord, normal D chord, and a normal G chord. All right, and compare that to this, where it has seventh and suspended chords. Take a listen. Now let's play that in the context of the entire song here with a normal triad. All right, and with the seventh and suspended chords in the context of the song. So as you can see, it's subtle, but it makes a very big difference for this genre of music. All right, so number two is off-grid playing slash non-quantized sounds. All right, so this genre is all about imperfection, hence the name lo-fi or low fidelity or low quality. In terms of how it sounds out of the speakers, the way it's not necessarily on beat, etc. This is the reason why most of these tracks remind you of vinyl being played on a record player. So finding what we call drum pockets and playing off grid is very important to the groove and feel of lo-fi tracks. So let's listen to that same chord progression being played perfectly quantized or timed on the grid. All right, so this is that same exact piano chord progression, but it's perfectly quantized to the grid. So as you can see, 17, 18, 19, those are the beats of this song. And these piano notes are perfectly lined up to the beat, which means they're perfectly quantized. And this is what it sounds like. And what you'll notice is that it doesn't feel very organic at all. It doesn't feel like someone's actually playing the piano, and it becomes very robotic, almost like every karaoke backing track you've sung your favorite song to. There's no real groove or feeling. Let's hear that again. Like no real piano player would play the piano that way. All right. Whereas I'll go back to my flavor chords over here. You can visually see how the notes are not perfectly on beat. And it gives the loop so much more character. So this is what it sounds like. So right away, you can already tell there's a big difference. Let's listen to the quantized one again. And the non-quantized. So whether it's your drums, piano, guitar, etc., do not just quantize your notes. Mess around and place them just a bit off time and find a groove you really like. So go listen to a Jay Dilla song or an El Dre song, and you'll really feel what I'm talking about, and you'll also hear what I'm talking about. All right, so number 3 is Isotope Vinyl. Isotope Vinyl is definitely my favorite free plugin to manipulate the sounds in my lo-fi tracks, and it just got a huge interface update, which makes it even easier to use than before. All right, so very quickly, it allows you to model different record players from different years, or just different sounds in general from different years. It allows you to add the mechanical, dust, scratch, warp noises, the electrical noises, all of that vinyl crackle that you hear in a lot of these songs. It allows you to do that. It basically allows you to recreate whatever kind of lo-fi vinyl record player sound you like. So real quick, I'm going to go through the settings of vinyl and show you how it affects the sound. And so I'm using it on the flavor chords, the piano riff, and here we go. So real quickly, you can tell that the modeling of the different years has the biggest effect right off the bat. Of course, you can change how fast the record is going. You can add some more dust and scratch and pops. You can warp it a little bit. So as you can see, just very quickly, it can affect your track in a way that is really suited for lo-fi music. And then obviously you wouldn't use it this aggressively, but I just want to show you how you can use it to affect the different sounds. So let me know down in the comments if you want a full Tutorial Tuesday video explaining this plugin in detail. But typically I'll throw this on my main instrument, whether piano or guitar, and add some warping and choose an earlier decade. And I'll even throw it on my master bus as well with just some noise and whatever decade I'm feeling for that particular song. So number 4, high pass filter my drum bus. Personally, what I like in my lo-fi music are drums that groove and stay in the pocket, but also don't knock too much or are too harsh or too complex. Again, I always come at this from the standpoint of being in a coffee shop, headphones on, knocking out some work, or just having some background music that's quite calming if I want to chill out. So I never get too fancy with it, and I'm wary of any excessive high end that is just gonna hurt my ears if I'm letting it play in the background. So here I laid down a very basic drum groove, very much not quantized like I mentioned in tip 2, and I'm just going to throw a simple high pass filter on with an EQ to cut out a lot of high end until I like how it sounds. And personally, I like the underwater muffled kind of sound. All right, so without the filter, it sounds like this. Very aggressive, very just loud drums. And then with a high pass filter, going all the way to about 1500 hertz. Again, without and with. And in the context of the mix, without an EQ or a high pass filter, sounds like this. As you can see, it really takes over the entire song, very distracting. And then I threw on the EQ. much more relaxing, much more chill, not in your face, and it doesn't hurt your ears, which is the most important thing. So you can even use an auto filter plugin or isotope vinyl to mess around with this. And finally, number 5 is vinyl crackle. Everyone loves a nice vinyl crackle sound playing in the background, so I'll usually just take a sample and extend it through the song and adjust the fader to taste. So this is the one playing in this song. Without it. And with it. Linked below is this particular sample, so feel free to download and use that if you'd like. All right, before we get to the end of this video, I just want to quickly shout out Cuts Clothing. They have quickly become one of my favorite brands in the past year. So if you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, then you know that for the past 6 or 7 years, I've worked intentionally to brand myself as a fashion and music content creator. And if you don't follow me on Instagram or TikTok, now's the time to do so. Link in the description if you're into fashion, music, and all of that. But anyways, I digress. I just want to quickly shout out Cuts Clothing for their high quality materials and high quality products. This hoodie from Cuts has quickly become one of my top 3 favorite hoodies, on top of all my Fear of God hoodies, my Nike hoodies, Champion hoodies, all of that. This is probably the most breathable and comfortable hoodie that I own. I mean, it's not probably, it is 100% the most breathable and comfortable hoodie I own. And living in Florida, you don't really get to wear a lot of hoodies all the time, but this one you definitely can get away with 75% of the year. But anyways, if you want to check Cuts Clothing out for yourself, you can use the link in the description and use my code Abeleda for 15% off your first purchase. Go to my Instagram if you want to know more about how I feel about certain products and clothes, especially Cuts. So anyways, let's get back to it. All right, so aside from me taking a little bit of time to talk about fashion, hopefully I finished that within 10 minutes, and I hope you enjoyed and learned something useful. Overall, for me, simplicity is key, and I personally view lo-fi music as the quintessential background music, you know, something you can throw on that's sonically pleasing but not too distracting. All right, so I don't want to throw on some J Beebs or Ed Sheeran while studying or working, because then I'm just gonna want to sing and then I won't get anything done. But throwing on some nice lo-fi music helps me zone in on whatever it is I'm doing. So for me, there's no need for any crazy drum patterns, super complex melodies, etc. My goal when making lo-fi revolves around consistency in the beat and sonically pleasing melodies that can sit in the background of any coffee shop, help me go to sleep, or something that I can just throw on my headphones and crank out a bunch of work to. So if you did learn something and you like this kind of content and want to see more, go ahead and please hit that like button down below and hit that subscribe button. It really helps out my channel. Stay tuned until the end of this video to see the final combination of tips that I showed you. But other than that, until next time, it's your boy Chris, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.